So I'm back after doing my yoke. So I'm measuring currently at 10 centimeters. So I know my yoke size was 11 centimeters, but because I've got to attach it together, that's going to be another centimeter, so that is totally fine. So next we've got to measure the chest. So we're going to measure from stitch marker to stitch marker, and here are the measurements for the chest. So mine is 24 centimeters. From there to there, you get your measurement. So I'm going to take my tape measure and I'm going to measure from stitch marker to stitch marker, and as you can see I'm measuring at around about 22 centimeters, so I'm missing 2 centimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape measure, measure 2 centimeters, see how many double crochets fit into my 2 centimeters. So I'm going to put my tape measure on at the start of one of my double crochets and see how many fit into 2 centimeters. So I have 1, 2 and a little bit there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it 3. So 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, 3 chains underneath each armhole. So I'm going to show you how to attach now. So I need 3 chains. You might need more, you might need less. When I was doing the newborn size, my chest was spot on. All I had to do was add the standard 1 chain underneath each armhole. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 2, we're going to turn, and we're going to carry on with our front post and back post double crochets. Just going to keep following the pattern up until we get to our stitch marker, and instead of making corners this time we're making chains. So I'm going to meet you back here when I get to my stitch marker. It's taken a little bit of time. So I've come to my stitch marker, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 double crochet into my stitch marker in the double crochet where my stitch marker is, and then I'm going to chain 3. Like I said, you may need more or less. If you get to the right amount, if you get to the right measurement on your chest, always add 1 chain. So then what I'm going to do, chain my 3, I'm going to fold my cardigan, and then I'm going to attach into the stitch marker here. I'm going to attach it with a double crochet, just 1 double crochet, attach that, and then you have your first bit of cardigan attached together. So then we come to our double crochet. So 1 double crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you back when I get to my stitch marker right here. I'm back at my stitch marker, and again I'm going to put a double crochet into the stitch with my stitch marker. So 1 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain my 3, And then I'm going to bring the cardigan together, both stitch markers join in together, and attach into this stitch marker with a double crochet, just like that. And then of course we have our front post and back post, so I'm starting with a back post. And then front post, and so on until you get to the end of your cardigan. Just like that. Okay, so I'm at end of my cardigan, at the end of my row, and I've successfully joined it together, just like that. Right, and the next row is going to be the same apart from the chains. So chain 2 and turn your work, and then again just front post and back post up until you get to your chains. Okay, so I have finished my row up until the chains, and you can see you've got a double crochet there now. So do a front post or back post, whichever you're on, right in there, and then we come to the chains. So what we're going to do is just put a double crochet into each of our chains. So that's my first chain, my second chain, and my third, and then we've got our double crochets. This is what it should be looking like right now. I'll meet you when I get to my other chains. I'm back at my chains, and again I'm just going to put one double crochet into every chain. So 1, 2, and 3. Sorry about that, I missed one of my chains. So there we are. And then if you look at it, you've got this double crochet here now. So my second one is a back post double crochet, so I'm going to have a front post double crochet here, and then I'm going to follow my pattern, and I'm going to keep going until I get to the end. So again, I've finished my row. So I would just want to talk to you a little minute about under your arms. So what you can do is you can keep doing this pattern, and you can keep doing it for your chains underneath your arm, right there, or you can stop with the pattern here and just do your pattern here and keep going with your double crochets here. Now with the newborn that I did the pattern underneath the arm as well. For this one I'm just going to do the pattern to the end of my pattern, and I'm going to do double crochets. I hope you understand that. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to chain 2, turn my cardigan, and I'm starting with a front post double crochet, and then I'm going to continue so this is actually gonna be it for part one. I'm gonna just talk you through the length of your cardigan, because this is all you've got to do now, which is really simple. You just follow the pattern up until you get to your desired length. It's a very simple pattern. Yeah, it's so effective. It's so nice. It's like nice and spongy as well. So this cardigan would actually be good for like winter, maybe the end of fall. So I'm probably doing it at the wrong time really, because we're in summer. So just coming to the end of my pattern now. And one more back post, and then I come to the chain, the double crochet underneath the armhole. So for these three you could do your front post to back post pattern, or you can do the double crochets like I'm going to do. It is totally up to you, but I wouldn't go past this mark because we want to keep this pattern going as well. So we keep going, and it is as simple as that. And this is what it looks like. So that's what it looks like with the double crochets. This is what it looks like with the front post, which maybe the front posts look a little bit better. I'm not sure yet, but it's worth a try. So when you've decided what you're going to do, you need to decide on the length you want. Now to measure the length, you need to measure underneath the arm, right at the top of the armhole here, and you measure down like that. I am going to do my length to 15 centimeters. You can do it however long you want, or however short. So for this cardigan, I'm not going to give you any measurements. For your length, I'm just going to say for the 3 to 6, I'm going to do 15 centimeters on my length. So that is the end of part one. I hope you found it useful. If you didn't, I would be happy to hear your feedback, or if you've got a problem, you can comment down below, or you can email me directly. I don't mind. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in part 2. Bye. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Live Love Crochet. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of the Grandpa Cardigan. So I want to just say 2 things before we start. So the first thing is, it's been so hot, that's why this video has been delayed so much, and it's cooled down a little bit now, so I'm back to do part 2. Hope I haven't put any of you out having a little bit of a break, but it was just so hot that I didn't really fancy coming and making a video. So the second thing is, I must apologise because in part 1 I didn't mention that we had the ribbon on the bottom, so I just told you to do your length and I didn't tell you about the ribbon at the bottom. so I apologize for that. So today I'm going to show you how to do the ribbon. So I did my length, so I'm going to add my ribbon on to my length now. So your cardigan should be looking like this. What we're going to do, if you've already cut your yarn, just reattach into the bottom stitch here on your right hand side of the cardigan. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're going to skip the first chain, sorry, and we're going to go into the second and make a single crochet into the next. So at the bottom we should have 4 single crochets, so 3 and 4. Now what we're going to do is just slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So you ignore this one where your chain's coming out of, into the next one, make a slip stitch, and into the one after that make a slip stitch. Turn your work, put your yarn in front, and you should count back 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go into the 4th one using the back loop only and make a single crochet, and again all the way up till you get to the top. And then when you get to the top, chain 1, turn your work, and again back loop only, skipping the chain that you've just made, back loop only, make a single crochet. So then when you get to the bottom, you can see this one's already taken, so we're going to the next one, make a slip stitch into the one after, make a slip stitch, turn your work, put your yarn in front, count back if you need to, 1, 2, 3 and 4, into the 4th, and this is what you're going to do all the way around. So I'm going to do the rest off camera, and then I will see you when I get to the end here. So I'm at the end, and for the end here I had 3 spaces to go into. So for the last one I just slip stitched into each of the 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back up once, because this one's pretty straight here, so we want this one to match. So I'm going to go into each one, and then when I get to the top, I'm going to chain 1, leave a bit of a tail, and I'm going to cut my yarn and put it through. So there is the ribbon all done. So next we are going to be moving on to the armholes, which are quite easy too. So I just want to show you as well. Last time I didn't have a label, but I had to go out and get another one because I was running low on mine. So here it is. So it's colours double knitting, and like I said before, it's 100% acrylic, and it's actually 150 grams, not what I said, 100 grams I think I said it was, and it recommends a 4mm, which is what we're using at the moment. So I thought I'd just show you that before we moved on. Right, so I'm going to start with the sleeve, I think. So just going to get in a way that you can see it. And that should be okay. Right. So if you get your yarn and make a slip knot. Right, so we've got our chains at the bottom here. You can see those. Okay, so we've got our chains at the bottom, and we've got our front post double crochet, and then our pattern going all the way around. So then we've got double crochets here as well. So what we're going to do is going to attach into one of these bottom chains here. I'm going to do it my second one here. And I'm going to chain 2, pull through and chain 2, so then you just want to make double crochet next to it, and a double crochet into the next. And we're going to put a double crochet into each of these here before we reach our first. Mine's a front post double crochet, yours might be a little bit different. So we're going to put double crochets here for now, but on our next row they're going to actually be turned into front post, back post double crochets. So I've got one left, and then I have my front post double crochet, so I'm going to go straight in and front post, and then back post. And you know the score with this. So what I'm going to do quickly, just going to grab a notebook quickly, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jot down quickly what I am doing. So I'm going anti-clockwise around my sleeve. No, sorry, I'm going clockwise around my sleeve. So on this one, I want to go clockwise again. So I'm just going to write that I'm going clockwise. That does not work. Clockwise, and then I'm going to write how many stitches when I finish this row, just so I can match it next time. So I think I am going to leave you to do this by yourself, and I will meet you back here where my last front post. So I just did my last front post double crochet, so I'm just going to put a double crochet and then one double crochet there. So then we reach our chain 2 from the start, and you want to attach 1, 2 chains. So not the bottom chain, but the top, the second one that you did. And then you want to chain 2 again. We're not going to do any turning. I'm just going to keep going the same way. So as you can see, I need to turn these into front post and back post double crochets. So I'm going to go back. There's my front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post. So mine is going to be a back post double crochet. So then I've just quickly counted around my sleeve because I forgot to do it. So I have 32 stitches, which I have to match on the other side. So now I have that written down. Now I don't have to like keep thinking what was the stitch, which way did I go. Just makes things a lot easier when you write them down. I tend to write a lot of things down when I'm crocheting. So you just keep going with front post and back post double crochets. And now I'm back onto my front post double crochets. So oops, when you reach, oh, tangled, there we go. Right, so when you reach the end here, you're gonna have one more double crochet, one more double crochet for me anyway. If you have more than one, just do what I did just now. So say I've got 3, I will just front post double crochet, back post, just keep going. So I've got a front post there, so I'll just make that one into a back post, and then I will attach into the second chain, so 1 and 2. And then I will carry on around until my sleeve reaches my length. This time I'm not going to forget to tell you about the ribbon at the bottom of the sleeve. So we have a little bit of ribbon there, which measures at 3 centimeters. So if I give you some measurements, if you, just in case you haven't wrote them down, so I haven't actually shown you in this video, just go quickly find them, sorry. Right, here we are. So okay, so we're on sleeve, so 14, 15, 16, 17 and a half, 19 and 20. So I'm doing 6 to 9, so mine's 17.5. So I'm gonna write 17.5, take away 3, and then I'm going to do, which is going to be 14.5. So my length for, let me just move this out of the way, for my actual front post and back post is going to be 14.5 centimeters, and then the ribbon, which is 3 centimeters, is going to make it up to 17.5. I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, you can comment down below and I will explain it a little bit more, or if you don't get something, I really don't mind. So I'm gonna let you get on with this sleeve because it's just exactly what we did for the length. There's no decreasing, there's no increasing that I have to show you. So I think you are more than capable to do it yourself. So I will see you when I finish my sleeve. I am probably going to do the sleeve as well, just to save time. And I will meet you back here when I have finished my sleeve. Okay, so I've done my length for my sleeve, just my ribbon to go. I've also completed the sleeve, done my ribbon on there. So this is what it's going to look like. So let's carry on. So we shouldn't have cut our yarn at this point. So what we're going to do now, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to make a single crochet all the way around. So 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you back when I finish this row. So once you come back around, you want to slip stitch into your first single crochet, and then we're going to chain 4, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. So skip the first chain, go into the second chain with a single crochet and make 2 more single crochets, which makes 3 single crochets. One into the last. Now you want to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches, so ignoring this stitch here because that's already taken, go into the next one and make a slip stitch, to the next one make a slip stitch, and into the next one make a slip stitch. Turn your sleeve, put your yarn in front of your hook. We're going to go up 3, 1, 2 and 3 into the back loop only, make a single crochet into the next single crochet and into the next single crochet, chain 1, turn your work back into the back loop, single crochet, single crochet, be 3 single crochets each time, then find your next spare stitch, which is this one here, that one's taken, so then another 3 slip stitches, 1, 2 and 3, turn your work, 3 single crochets up, and I think I can leave you to do this yourself. So I'm going to do the rest off camera when I have finished my ribbon. Just come to the end. Now I'm going to sew mine with a needle. So I'm going to leave a little bit of yarn, cut it, pull out my hook and attach my needle onto my yarn, and then we're going to start sewing. So you've got 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So go through 1 loop this side and 1 loop this side, pull through, go through again into the same stitches. When you come through that time, leave a little bit of a loop, go through your loop and make a little knot just like that. Now go into your second stitch and second stitch that side, picking up 1 loop only, 1 loop, just go through that normally, and now last stitch, go through 1, go through 1 loop, and now go through both loops, 1, and both loops that side. Don't pull it all the way through because we've got to tie it off now. Again, leave a knot, go through that loop and pull tight, and while you've got your thread on your needle, just hide your tail. And cut your yarn off there. You have completed your sleeve. So for me that's 2 sleeves done. For you that might just be your first sleeve done. So these sleeves are pretty thick as well. I think I did mention that before, that this was probably best left for the winter or the fall, but never mind. So now we're going to do our buttonholes. So if you would like to grab your yarn, we're going to start on the right side at the top. So get your yarn and put a slip stitch on, a slip knot onto it, and we're going to start in the very top of the right hand side. I get muddled, sorry. Right hand side top, the top stitch. I'm so sorry. So find your top stitch, which is right here. So attach your yarn and make a chain 1, and then into that same stitch make a single crochet. Now you can see here all the way down we have this bit, that's it. So we've got this bit sticking out, we've got this bit here, the front post double crochets, and then we've got this these stitches here. So we're going to go into those with single crochets, So you're going to put a single crochet wherever you can, counting your stitches. So it might be a good idea again to get your book, so you can write down how many stitches you have. You don't need to do that if you don't want to. So we're just putting single crochets into our stitches. This one won't go in. Trying to get through 2 stitches at least. There we are. So you can either count them as you go in, or you can just go back and count them when you've finished. But you need to count them so the other side matches this side, otherwise you'll get one that's longer than the other. So I'm going to go and do these single crochets off camera and let you do yours, and I will meet you back here when I've finished my first row of single crochets. Okay, so I've just finished my first row of single crochets, counted my stitches, and I had 32, so I have to put 32 in this side. So at the end where you've put your last stitch, make sure you get as close to the bottom as possible. Make a chain 1 and turn your cardie around. And now it's just a case of 2 more rows of single crochet. So going back into this same stitch here, make a single crochet, single crochet all the way up to there, chain 1, turn around, come back down, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so I've just finished my 3rd row. So now we're going to chain 1 and cut our yarn, leaving a little bit of tail to sew in. So now we're going to move on to the other side, which is going to be our buttonholes, our buttonhole side. So we need some stitch markers, depending on how many buttons you want. I'm going to do 4 buttons, and now I'm going to get my yarn, and we're going to start from the bottom this side. So slip knot, okay. So we're going to find our last, the most bottom stitch you can, at the stitch closest to the bottom, which is here for me. And then chain 1, single crochets. Remember, you have to match the number of stitches from the other side to single crochet back into that stitch there. So I've got to do 32 single crochets into this side. So I've got 2 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move on. So this time you can either go along this edge inside or you could go along outer edge. So remember, these are going to be our buttonholes. So I think it would look quite nice if it was, I think that's what I did with the other cardigan. So remember, this one was quite hard to find a place to put my, yeah, that's what I did. I connected them underneath. This one was quite hard to find places to put my stitches. So I think I'm gonna go, no, I think I'm gonna go at the top here. Otherwise it's gonna dip. That's not what I want. So I'm just gonna go into the top here. So one single crochet wherever you can find them to put them nice and evenly spread out, and match your other number, and I will see you at the top. So I've just finished this row. I now have 32 stitches. So when you get to the top, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to get our stitch markers. And we're going to find a place for our buttons. So my bottom button, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 into the 4th single crochet stitch. My top button, I would like 1, 2 into the 3rd stitch. And now I'm just gonna guess where to put these a second. I'm gonna say round about there, and around about there. Then I need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the braid is spaced out. So I'll do this off camera. Okay, so I've just sorted that out. Just had to move this one down 1, and now I've got 8 stitches in between my stitch markers. So let me just put this back again. So we've just chained 1, so turn. Now for the buttonholes, what we're going to do, make a single crochet as normal until you reach your stitch marker. So reach our stitch marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain. So I'm going to chain 2. These are for our buttons. And then I'm going to skip the stitch marker and into the next stitch make a single crochet, and then I'm going to see if my button fits through 2 stitches. So yes, that's big enough. So even if you make one chain, 2 chains, 3 chains, they all go into the stitch after the stitch marker. So 2 is enough for me. So then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch until I get to my next stitch marker. So mark my next stitch marker. I'm going to chain 2, skip over my stitch marker, and into the stitch after that put a single crochet. And then you've got another buttonhole. So keep doing this to the top and I will see you here. And now at the top, chain 1 and turn our work. So now what we're going to do, go up one last time with single crochets. So into the first single crochet as usual, into the stitch before your chains, and now we're going to put underneath these chains a single crochet, into the next stitch a single crochet, just like that, and single crochet until your next chains. And put a single crochet in the stitch before your chains, and 1 single crochet because you've only skipped 1 stitch, and then we keep going until the end, and I will meet you back here. I'm now back at the top. I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn, and tighten, and that is your buttonholes complete. So once you get your buttons on, this should all straighten itself out. I've got tails everywhere. So we're now going to do the collar. So if you would like to grab your yarn, this is one of the last things we have to do. We're going to do our collar, sew in our buttons and sew in our tails, and then we're finished. So collar, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so we're going to go into the buttonhole side, and we're going to find a place very close to the edge to put our yarn, attach our yarn into. Just trying to grab 2, there we go, attach your yarn, pull through, chain 1, single crochet, and chain 2, sorry, double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next, so as you can see, here are the chains left over from your starting chain. So it's just a matter of finding those and going into them. So it's just going to be 1 double crochet into every stitch or every chain. So you keep going with this, and I will meet you right at the end here. So I've made it back around and finished my double crochets. So when you get here to this point, chain 2, turn your work. So now I'm going to start with a back post double crochet into this post here, back post double crochet to the next, front post, back post, exactly the same as the rest of the pattern. So keep going until you reach the end, and I will meet you back here. So I've come to the end, and at the very end you have your chain 2. You need to put double crochet into your second stitch. So 1 stitch, 2 into your second double crochet. And then we're going to chain 2 again, turn our work. And this time, this is our last row by the way, this time we're going to go in where there's a front post, make a front post, where there's a back post, make a back post double crochet, just as we have before. And I will see you at the end of this row. I'm at the end, and again chain 2 right here, put a double crochet into your second chain, so 1 and 2, and then chain 1, and we're going to cut our yarn. So that is it. So all you need to do now is sew in all these tails and sew on your buttons. So I'm going to leave you to do that. I'm going to go and do mine, and I will see you back here when our cardigan is complete. Okay, so I've just sewn in my buttons and sewn in my tails. So now we have a complete cardigan. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. If you have any questions for me, if you didn't understand anything, then just write in the comments down below. So until next time,